Now, welcome to our today's lecture at Yohana Academy. In our today's lecture, we are going to discuss introduction to personal and social development. Now, then we are going to look at how personal and social development are the key components of building capacity among students, employed citizens, and even the general humanity within our society. This is a very important discussion that endeavors to capture our understanding of how human beings relate with one another. In this discussion, we are going to give vivid definitions of personal and social development. Then look at the examples of personal and social development in this lecture. Now, this is an introduction bit of our discussion, and the course introduction to personal and social development will take a couple of hours. We shall spend approximately 1 hour in this session. Then there is another session that will be coming, which will also take approximately an hour. Now, in this discussion, we're going to give the course introduction, and we argue that this course is open to everyone. Now, whenever I say everyone, then I mean people at the workplace, the professionals, the students in colleges, universities, high schools, and even lower classes. So the duration of this session is approximately 45 minutes. The session takes 45 minutes, and in these 45 minutes, our discussion will entail to cover a myriad of items on personal and social development. Now then, immediately after this session or this lecture, or even this course, we are going to give an assessment. We are going to give an exam. There will be an exam that will be done by all the students that will attend this lecture. And if that is the case, then I call upon your cooperation during our or during our meetings. We are also going to give award certificates of participation. Those who participate will be awarded certificates, and these certificates will go away in helping you as a student build your capacity and build your profile or even your curriculum vitae. So we move on, and we look at that picture. That picture you can see a number of people, both on the left, center, the right, and you can see the writings. There are those words written there. We have the word you, me, and we. Now, I brought this picture in this session just to make you understand that personal and social development is all about me, it's all about you, it's all about we. So in terms of me, I'm talking about the development in terms of an individual, a single individual. Then we refer to development both at a personal and social level of many individuals in our society. So the society needs to build human beings in terms of capacity to deal with their day-to-day activities. Now, that said, we move on to the next bit, and we define the term social development. I've asked here a good question. The question that I've asked or raised in this discussion is, what is social development? What is social development? So we argue that social development encompasses a commitment to individual well-being and volunteerism, and the opportunity for citizens to determine their own needs and then influence decisions that affect. So we are focusing on a commitment of an individual's well-being and volunteering himself for the opportunity of citizens so that you'll be able to determine their own needs and even influence decisions that affect these people, decisions that affect individuals in our society. So the basis of our discussion here is to help an individual or to help humanity get out of worrying situations, worrying elements that affect and jeopardize their life. And therefore, we are saying that social development incorporates public concerns in developing social policy and economic initiatives. So we develop social policy to assist an individual gain that capacity to help him live peacefully in a community or in a society. We are also helping individuals in terms of economic initiatives, economic power, economic emancipation of our people in our societies or community. Now, in this case, we move on and we still talk about social development, and the issues that we want to raise here about social development are issues that deal with peace, democracy, governance, as we shall see. And we begin by saying that until relatively recently, social development was conceived in terms of a set of desirable results: higher incomes, longer life expectancy, lower infant mortality, and even more education. So this has been the thinking, the thoughts of humanity in terms of what social development is all about. So people have been thinking about social development that encompasses higher income, longer life expectancy, lower infant mortality, and more education. So these are some of the views and the theories of human beings in our society, that whenever people think about social development, then it's all about higher incomes, getting a good salary, longer life expectancy, that meaning living long on earth, lower infant mortality. So the cases of death among children are reduced. Then more education, people getting quality education, not just necessary education, but quality education. Many times you can get more education, but it is not quality. But the focus of social development is to help humanity get quality education. Now, recently, emphasis has shifted from the results to the enabling conditions, the strategies, and the public policies for achieving those results. And results that people have endeavored peace. So countries have been looking for a peaceful society. Democracy, which is the rule of the people, by the people, and for the people. Democracy was defined by Winston Churchill as a rule of the people, by the people, and for the people. Good governance among our political leaders, social freedom in our society, equal access to basic needs, laws, building of institutions, markets, infrastructure, education, and technology. So whenever we talk about social development, then we are talking about the policies that help us achieve such results that we have just mentioned. Peace, democracy, good governance, social freedoms, equal access to opportunities, laws, building institutions, markets, infrastructure, education, and even technology. Now, then we move on again and we look at that photo. That is a photo. And from that photo, the photo was chosen intentionally to show that if people are to develop socially, if people are to develop socially or to succeed, and you can see the word success here coming first, then this success needs support. You need support. We also need knowledge to succeed. We need experience in terms of performing tasks, knowledge in terms of training, support from friends, relatives, and other people that surround you. Then you need to have a potential. There is need to have a potential or that capacity to perform a given activity. Now, we also have to look at the goals. People in the world have been setting goals. But the big question that we ask ourselves, do they really meet or realize these goals? The question might be, the answer might be either no or yes. But setting a goal and realizing the goal are two distinct or different or identity, entities. So people should be guided on how to set the goals and realize or achieve such goals. Now, then we also have business. People take part in business. Expert, you need the expertise. You need expertise to perform a task. You need experts to guide you, and you realize your goals. So this photo or a picture was chosen specifically to help you understand what a social development entails in terms of success, in terms of achieving your goals. We have mentioned those things. Let's move to the next item. So we still give a definition of social development. And I've still raised the question, what is social development? We have given the earlier definitions of social development, but let us also make an additional definition of 2 or 3 points here. So social development is defined in the broadest social terms as an upward directional movement of society from lesser to greater levels of energy, efficiency, quality, productivity, complexity, comprehension, creativity, choice, mastery, enjoyment, and accomplishment. That is a long definition of the term social development, but I want to give it a simpler and a basic explanation. So social development means that human beings should have the capacity for upward mobility, upward directional movement of a people from a lower level to a greater level. And these greater levels include efficiency, equality, productivity, complexity, comprehension, creativity, choice, mastery, enjoyment, and accomplishment. You want to accomplish something in life, then social development as a discussion comes in play. So social development is about people raising from a lesser position to a higher position. And you cannot only raise from a lower position or a lesser position to a higher level if you set your goals, just as we have talked about. You have the potential. You need to have the potential, and you need to set realistic goals so that you achieve your objective in life. So then we also add social development refers to many of the non-economic processes and outcomes of development. And these outcomes of development entail and not limited reduced vulnerability, inclusion, well-being, accountability, people-centered approaches, and the freedom from violence. So these are non-economic processes in our society. They don't realize, say for example, finances. You don't realize maybe a salary or a wage out of this, but we are saying that there is need to have reduced vulnerability. People should have, they should be an inclusive society. They should be a well-being society. People should be accountable on what they do. So you need to set up people-centered approaches, and there should be freedom from violence. The countries have been facing violence in the past, and this has been the main cause and the main trouble, the main issue that affects the society. And we are saying that a country should build capacity on dealing with the violent activities in society. Now, let's move on and see what social development encompasses. So, in this case, we are arguing that social development is fundamentally concerned with human rights, formal and informal power relations, inequality, and the possibilities for building greater equality among individuals and the groups within societies. So the question of human rights here is very key and very important in our society. Human rights has to do dealing with the welfare of humanity, helping human beings get out of frustrated situations, dealing with the violent occurrences in our society, dealing with the tendencies of robbery, among other things. So human rights is about the well-being of an individual and even a society in general. So therefore, social development is driven by the subconscious aspirations of society for advancement or progress. Society and individuals seek progressive fulfillment of a prioritized hierarchy of needs. So this is a hierarchy of needs. So needs, according to Maslow, are arranged as follows. Or human needs are arranged in terms of the following order. So first, they need to have security of borders in a society. So once you have the security of the borders or security of the environment, then other things will come into play. But say, for example, there is no security and people are killed, they are being murdered, assassinated, then you will not get a food, shelter, among other things, entertainment, as we shall see. So it all begins with security of our borders. The borders ought to be secure. They should be law and order, self-sufficiency in food and shelter. They need to be self-sufficiency in terms of food and shelter, organization for peace and prosperity. Organization of peace and prosperity. We have expression of existing energy in entertainment. There should be leisure and enjoyment, knowledge, and even artistic creativity. So all these items for an individual to progress in a society, this element that we have mentioned, right from security of the borders to artistic creativity, need to be met in that order. But the question we ask ourselves here, how if these needs are made scattered? Say, for example, we start with by entertainment. Then security of the borders comes last, or security of individuals comes last. What will happen? That is a good question that every human being that is handling social development need or ought to answer. You can't actually go for the entertainment or get entertainment when you are not secure. Even when you go for entertainment or you carry out entertainment or leisure activities, and even you want to enjoy music, there are various ways in which people enjoy and carry out their leisure activities and entertain themselves. So, but you cannot actually begin to entertain yourself when there is no security. They need to be security. So the environment, that's why we are saying that security of individuals and security of the borders, country borders, need to come first. Law and order follows suit among other components. And by doing that, it will be easier for human beings to achieve this element that we are referring to, social development. As social development. Now, we proceed and we now change gears and talk about personal development. We have talked about social development at length, and I want us to talk about personal development. So in this case, sorry for that. So personal development is our next element for discussion. Then we are asking ourselves this question: what is a personal development? What is personal development? So what is personal development? If I may ask. So a personal development is a part of the circle of health which focus on different ways you can grow in different areas of your life. What can you do to make your life better? So it focuses on what a humanity can do to make life better. What can human beings do to make their life in this case? So there are questions that we need to ask ourselves to find out how human beings can work to ensure that their life is improved. So personal development is looking inward and focusing on ways to better yourself. So you're looking at ways to better yourself, to make your life better in a given society. A question of personal development increases your self-awareness. You want to improve your self-awareness. You also want to improve your self-esteem. It increases your skills and fulfills your aspirations. So personal development is different from what you are referring to social. So this is all about self-awareness, self-esteem, your skills, and fulfillment of your aspirations in a given society. So then we move on again, we say that it is the act of looking inward to achieve a purpose, or you want to achieve some results, especially in pursuit of clarity, purpose, and a passion in life. So there is a purpose that you have said, and there are results that you are looking for to achieve in life. And therefore, personal development is much larger than just a career. So it's bigger than a career development or self-development. Self-development, so to speak. So then a personal development in this case comprises all aspects of your life where you'd like to see personal growth. You want to see personal growth. And it doesn't discriminate on where it shows up for you. So we are talking about personal growth in the question of personal development in our society. Now, let's turn to examples of personal development. What are the examples of personal development in our society? So I have highlighted a 4 here, but in our next slide, we are also going to look at the 4 or 5 more other examples of personal development. And we shall wrap up with the pictures or pictures in these slides to make you understand better what personal development comprises of. So number 1, personal development involves becoming better at something. Becoming better at something such as talent, education, managing your finances and other resources, and even volunteering. So you are talking of the issues of development in terms of education, managing your finances and resources. Then you give voluntary services. Humanity needs services of volunteering. We need to volunteer to help those vulnerable people in the society. There are individuals who are vulnerable, and it's good that people volunteer to help them cope with the situation in terms of their well-being. So then, how do you manage finances and other resources? Finances in terms of personal development can be by looking at the budget. What is your budget? So you don't do what we call impulse buying. So you should avoid impulse buying. You need to do it, and this helps you build capacity in terms of how you manage your finance. It also helps you better your education, as we have mentioned, among other components. So these are just a few examples of personal development in our society, but there are many examples of issues of personal development in society. There are many other examples of in our. Let's now go to another aspect. So we have those photos there. We are talking about examples of personal development, and we have talked about the issues of finances, education. So finances, education, well-being, among other aspects of life. So life builds humanity, so personality and development comprise of those things. But if you want to succeed, to build capacity in education, build capacity in terms of the general welfare of a human being, then you need to give your life quality, you need to give your education quality, you need to build standards of honesty, you need to be honest, fairness to people. Are you fair to individuals? Are you fair to people that you... So then you need also team spirit. People in societies need to work as a team. There is need to work as a team so that you realize success. You need to be fair to other people. You need to be honest, and you need also to be quality. Quality is very important. Then we move on to another aspect. So I'm showing you these figures just to help you understand what personal and social development is all about. In the next photo that I've just demonstrated there, you can see three individuals. One on the right is looking in front. The one in the middle is looking backward at the back. And there's one that is wearing goggles or spectacles, who is looking at these two individuals. Now, these photos are accompanied with some writings, some words. So there are a number of words there. And here, our focus is on the success of individuals. How do people succeed in life? People succeed in life in terms of developing or development. The question of development is very key here. People succeed in life in terms of acquiring requisite knowledge. Knowledge is power. But in my argument, I say that knowledge is power only if it's applied to solve a situation. Every individual has knowledge, but we need to find out why are some people so knowledgeable than others? That is the question we need to ask ourselves. People get knowledge through learning. As you can see from the slides, learning, you need to learn, you need to get trained, you need to be coached to get knowledge so that this knowledge leads to development and development leads to success. So once you get coaching, good coaching from good people who have experience, you can be coached to play football, you can be coached to talk before public, you can be coached to handle a situation, and you can also go through a training you are doing to get a certificate. So you can get a certificate of the thing. So training also is very important to realize knowledge. Learning, people need to learn. Even at the age of 60 or 50 years, people need just to continue learning. Learning does not stop. Learning is a continuous and rigorous process that need not to be stopped. And people think that learning is about classroom setup. It is not. It is not about the classroom environment. The classroom environment is just a condition for learning. But learning can take even place on the road. Learning can take place in our homes. Learning can take place in hospitals. Learning can take place in hotels. Learning can take place anywhere. So as a students, we should not limit ourselves and say that learning takes place basically in schools, colleges, and universities only. Learning can take in any other place. Any place learning takes place. Then by learning, we get knowledge. So knowledge is acquired after learning, training, and coaching. After learning, training, and coaching. So you only get knowledge after you have learned, you have been trained, you have been coached. So you cannot just wake up one a fine day in the morning, then you say that I have knowledge. Knowledge is learned, and it doesn't actually mean that you go to a class setup. Okay. But we are encouraging people to go to institutions to learn, to train, and get mentors. So mentors are people who have been in that field for quite some time, and they have rich knowledge to coach you. So then we have also the question of, so from there, we shall realize development, we shall realize success. So those are things that we shall achieve when we go through this process of coaching, training, learning, and even mentorship. If you so wish, mentorship. People need to be mentored. So then we move away from the photos, in the two photos, and look at more examples of personal development. So there are many other examples. We have like 6 examples of personal development, and I will talk about them briefly. I'll talk about them briefly. So personal development includes the following: being creative. So you need to be creative in terms of tackling tasks. Why is it that some people are given tasks then you find one person is doing better than the other. It is about the question of creativity. How creative are you? You need to be creative in terms of handling tasks. You also need to set and reach your goals. So setting and reaching your goals. Now, people set goals in our society. Goal setting is something that's done by nearly every individual. But the question we ask ourselves, who realizes these goals? A few people realize the goals, reach these goals in a society. So you need to set the goals, stick to those goals. You set realistic goals. Don't set goals to impress people. Don't set goals that will make you get frustrated. Then you need to set goals that are reachable, that you can easily reach. Then you also need personal bring more in laughter in your life. So you know the activities, some of the things that will bring a lot of humor and laughter into your life. People currently need aspects of humor and laughter because the society that we are living in is riddled with many things. There are many things that are happening to our people. There are aspects of chaos in our countries. There are frustrations in families. There are diseases that are affecting our people. There is a enormous stress among people. And what we are trying to say here is that you need to look at some of the issues, some of the components of life that bring humor and laughter in your life. And you will forget these traumatizing and stressful moments. You will forget these frustrating moments of life. If we look for something that helps us break into laughter, humor, get entertained, it will solve some of the problem that people undergo. We also need to become more compassionate. You need to be more compassionate. So compassionate, being compassionate is basically the tendency of helping humanity cope with issues of life, providing basic needs to people, and even providing shelter, food, other basic needs. So that's being compassionate. You give these items to people who are not able to get them because of challenges in life. They don't have the financial capacity or ability to buy some commodities, basic needs. So you also need to practice forgiveness. You need to practice how to forgive people. You need to forgive your people, your friends, of course, and even those people who might not be your friends. So learn to forgive people. And by forgiving people, then you'll be giving them a second opportunity to live a normal life. But there are some of the situations in some societies where people say that I have forgiven you, but I'll never forget. So the question we ask ourselves, is that really forgiving people? That I have forgiven you, but I'll not forget. Forgiving in this sense in our society means that living or doing away and even in generally forgetting what somebody did to you, something bad to your life. So you need to forgive and you need to forget so that a new relationship is built, a new beginning starts. Because you have forgotten those issues that happened to you, which came from a friend or an enemy. Then make work better, making work better, So this applies whether you have a job you are paid to do, or if you are doing voluntary work, or taking care of loved ones, or even doing projects at home. So you need to love your work. You need to make this work better. You don't need to do work when you are frustrated. You are working as if you are somebody who has given up in life. So you don't need to do that. You need to make this work look better in a society. So then that is said, we ask ourselves, how can we make our work look better? So the first thing is that you need to love the work that you are doing, whether paid or not paid, voluntary or not voluntary, whether you are taking care of the loved one, they're not paying you, you need to love the work. The second thing is that you need to have commitment in the work that you are taking. So there is need to have commitment. People ought to be committed. And the commitment helps us realize the results. Number three, you need to be a timekeeping in terms of the work that you take so that you finish this work and move to the other one. Timekeeping. And you need also to get some coaching, some life coachings to improve your work. You need to be coached. People ought to be coached. They need to be trained, as we earlier said. They need to learn. They need to get knowledge and skills so that the work that they are doing looks or seems better in the eyes of the employer. Now, then we move on and we are moving towards the end, and I'll raise a number of questions as we find out. Now, I've presented the photo there. That's a photo, and this is a photo. This is a good photo that you can learn something about. Now, this photo, as you can see, shows or indicates human beings, both ladies and boys. And you can see once we have that commitment, we have that knowledge, we have those skills in terms of personal development, then we shall realize our goals. And you can see these pictures demonstrate that these people are happy, maybe because they have achieved the goal they set earlier, they had achieved the objective that they had set earlier, and that's why they are happy. And we earlier say that you need to look at activities that bring to your life humor and laughter. And you can see these human beings are happy, they're laughing. And by doing this, you relieve stress, you relieve pressure, you relieve frustrations of life. And that's how life should look like. People need to have humorous activities. And this photo also tells us that we help people grow. People should be helped to grow in terms of personal development, social. So unity becomes our shield and the strength in terms of personal and social development. So that said, from this photo, we can also say that life revolves around people. Life does not revolve around one person. It revolves around people. And you can see these are people who are celebrating. These are people who have come together and they have maybe achieved or realized something. So life revolves around human beings. From this photo that we are just watching. Now, that said, with those statements that you have raised here, we are coming towards the end of our session. Our session was to take 45 minutes, but we have gone up to 51 minutes, which is just fine. And I hope you have got something out of this training that will help to build capacity in terms of social and personal development. So we wind up at that point, and I thank you for your audience. We stop there, and we pick up another time. I've been your teacher, Watulo. Thank you.